Don't tell me that man can't multitask because it's true. All right.
You can't.
So do we please repost your questions that you posted in the local chat. There's a whole bunch of questions that went by real quick. Um, and you can also ask in voice, please, if you have voice on. So,
I don't know if Elf Biter is still here, Drax, but I did copy Elf
oh
Biter's
yeah, Elfbiter had a lot
question.
of really good comments. Yeah,
So here's one of them.
is anti-government seen as anti-Alawite as well? Alawites being in dominant position. Ah, this is a political in the weeds question.
Um, I guess so. I mean, the Alawites are a minority, aren't they? And they are the ruling, the majority of the ruling party are Alawites.
Hmm.
Um, so I guess in a way they must be, but I think the main issue is that they've got is with Assad, because his family that just want to hold on and not let go. That's what I've gauged from people in Damascus.
Yeah, I'm
They
not an I'm
see,
not an
and
expert on
some
the.
of them say that he's a puppet. Um, but I don't know. I don't know how you can hold on to power like that, being a puppet. So I don't know.
I think this is one of those examples of somebody who happens to be in power that who is also from a ethnic minority in a country, and that
Yeah,
can be is often used. I mean, it's been used in the Iraq context as well, to
yeah,
rile up supporters. And I think if you zoom out, you got to look at the power structure. So oftentimes when somebody who may have an origin in an ethnic minority but is in a powerful position like Assad, I mean, they use this stuff as propaganda. They say, you're anti. I mean, we see it also with it's slightly different, but the right wing move in Israel, the equating of being Jewish and or being anti this particular right wing regime in Israel, and equating that with anti-Semitism is kind of similar, I guess, a little bit because
mm,
that's used to divide people.
yeah, yeah.
And I mean, being critical of the Netanyahu regime has nothing to do with anti-Semitism. I mean,
Exactly.
if I
It's really
critique the am I anti-Christian if I say, hey, the Crusades were kind of shitty? No.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Uh, Dory says if the puppet masters are happy with his dancing, they'll keep using him.
Yeah, true, true, Dory. Very true.
I mean, there's a lot of, I mean, I personally also really feel, just generally speaking, that Western industrialized countries have uh, a responsibility to help and solve this crisis. There are push and pull factors, and we are. I mean, I have a friend from high school who uh, my hat is off to him because he has this one family friend who is a programmer, and he worked for Siemens. And Siemens has a big stake in weapons. They make weapons as some of their subsidiaries. And when my friend Bernd, and he told me he's in a dinner with big family dinner, and the conversation is fluffy at the table, he would say to this other guy, let's just call him Karl, and he would say, Karl, how many Iraqi children did you kill today?
Oh God.
No, but hear me out, because that is actually what he's trying to do here is to draw him out of a position, because this guy is receiving a big paycheck from Siemens, and he is a programmer, and his work goes into guided missiles that are going and are being sold in war zones. So I think this is
Mm,
a legitimate. I mean, it's a very provocative way to put it out there, but I think at that position you do have to ask yourself the question: maybe I should quit my job. I mean, he's not gonna. This guy is a talented programmer. He's not gonna starve.
Mm,
So,
mm.
but that's my
Yeah,
position on that stuff. I couldn't
it's
sleep at
ethics,
night.
isn't it?
Yeah, everybody's very quiet. Any
Now,
question?
Alphonse puts in here that he understands Boy Everywhere has won many prizes, and I was looking through the prizes it won, and one of them was from Amnesty International, which I didn't know they gave a prize for a book, but
Ah, yeah.
I was wondering how that one felt in particular.
Yeah, so it's on their activism list, and that was amazing to be recognised by them. But yeah, it's only been out 8 months, and it's made such waves across the US and UK. It's been quite incredible. It wasn't the way that I expected it to be received. It's gone way beyond. But yeah, my dream was to. I think when I wrote this book, I wanted it to be discussed. I wanted it to be a discussion book. I wanted it to be, studied in schools. I really wanted Amnesty to endorse it. So when I saw that, I was over the moon. Yeah,
Mm.
really was.
Oz's list of prizes in her email is 3 pages long. Matter of matter of fact, my iCloud email account crashed because of her emails, because of the attachments. But
Yeah, I know. It's in my signature, and I do need to edit that. It's just so long. It does my head in as well, especially if I forget to delete in replies. It really is annoying.
I mean, the question that I wanted to ask her, which I didn't, I mean, and then I kind of did which is I mean, your assessment. I mean, you said it earlier. It's just, the, your assessment about the nastiness of the nationalism. I mean, the way I see it is really global. It's a global phenomenon of this resurgence of nationalism. But sometimes I do feel that British people are a little bit nastier than other. I don't know. It's just maybe because it's usually some super white dude with a beer belly. But we have those in Germany too. So I don't know. I mean, the visuals are just so. Um, yeah,
Uh,
I don't know.
I
I
heard
think
of
I
a
think I think there are yeah. I mean they're everywhere, aren't they? America, Germany, England, everywhere. But the problem is that I think um, I really do feel that Trump coming into power really gave them a voice, and I think things spiraled after his rise to him becoming a president. Um, I mean, it's been nicer online after he was taken off Twitter, but people felt um, that they could share the views that they'd harbored secretly for so long. They felt like they didn't have to, um, keep them to themselves anymore, and it gave them a voice. And since then, we're just seeing, so much more hate than we've ever did, like 4 years ago. I don't know if you agree with that.
Um,
Yeah, Isabel and Shiloh agree. Yeah.
I mean, the thing is that this is complex. I mean, you know, the thing is that
Yeah.
again, I caution false optimism. I mean, I don't want to like be the doomsdayer or Debbie Downer. But the thing is that what Trump unleashed was always there.
It
What
was.
And in Germany we have this thing with the National Socialist Underground that came to a head with this where these two neo-Nazis killed themselves. I think it was in 2011, and they were on a rampage, killing random people of Turkish descent in Germany over the course of 10 years, and it was really not detected. I mean, it's a lot of scandals. There were infiltrators from the authorities that then collaborated with the neo Nazis and so on and so forth. So this is uh, these authoritarian tendencies in power and on the ground level. Pff, they can be weaponized and unleashed. and harnessed at any given point in time with if you have a charismatic demagogue at the top. I could not believe that that Trump fit that bill. That's kind of slob that he is. I mean, it's just bizarre. It still is. But the issue in the US specific issue is that the type of this is my opinion, the type of neoliberal policies, it leads to authoritarianism. There's no doubt in my mind. In Germany, you had the Gerhard Schröder government that cut social services left and right. Um, because we're in a crisis, we got to cut stuff, and they opened up a huge low wage labor market. They alienated their constituencies, and that led to a resurgence of the right wing because all these workers that were traditionally left-leaning social democrats, and there are statistics out there, they all went to this new right-wing AfD party in Germany because they felt betrayed by globalization. And from their point of view, it's well, they were betrayed. The same in the US. So we got to be really careful. Biden is not a big Biden fan either. But of course, it's good that he won, no doubt about it. But he's got to be very careful with his policies, and he's got to deliver very fast. Or in 2024 in the U.S., it's going to be another Trump, and that type of Trump person is going to be a lot smarter. So that's my
Yeah.
prediction.
Well, he wants to run it. Yeah, it's going to be really bad. I agree.
So in terms of
I-
what I mean by having have to deliver is meaning, he's got to make really clear that he is on the side of regular working people. And
mm,
what he's doing now, Biden, I think is already a little bit problematic because he's pulling back from, forgiving student loans, for example. I mean, this is something that the U.S. can easily afford. He
mm.
should just do like really big things like that. He should just forgive all student loans. Boom, done. The reason why he's not doing that is because, well, he, that's who he is. He comes from that milieu. A lot of his supporters are I mean, it's a huge industry, the credit industry. So, anyways, sorry. If you
Hmm.
ask me a question about US politics, I'm not going to stop talking. That's the problem.
I, uh, I want to ask about the Empathy Project. Um,
The
I
what?
saw one of the videos, the Empathy Project.
Oh, yeah.
Are you? I saw one of the videos, and I'll have to find it so I can put the link in. But I love the idea of teaching empathy, not just to children but to adults, like having an empathy walk. Um,
Oh yeah, the
An
Empathy
empathy
Project.
walk.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
so there's this day each year called the Empathy Day, and it's obviously for children, and it's about they select sort of books that encourage empathy, but they found, researchers found that empathy is literally good for your health,
Mhm.
and it can be learned. Like you're not born with that. It's something that you can learn, and it's something that if we do teach children and people to be more empathetic, then we're essentially creating a better society. And so my book was chosen, Boy Everywhere was chosen as part of that for this year. And I did an empathy walk, which was basically I had to go for a walk with my kids, and we had to look at all the kind of things that we noticed, but from an empathetic view. So in that video, we heard my neighbor's dog howling. He was very upset. So we considered what had happened to him. Was he okay? Was he scared? Was he hungry? And then, we heard the ambulance in the distance, and we wondered if they'd make it on time. Were the ambulance people anxious that they'd get to the sick person, or get the sick person to hospital? We saw a baby in a pram, and we were like, is the baby jealous that it can hear its sibling, talking to mum, but it's sort
Ah,
of lying there flat on its back, but looking up at the sky. So we sort of really put ourselves in the shoes of others, and that's what the video that I did was encouraging that. And it was aired across schools. Teachers used it um, around that week. So yeah, that's what that was about. And then I also did this empathy mirroring thing with a poet where we both had to mirror each other's body language. And it basically showed how when you do mirror somebody's body language, you can really understand what they might be feeling. So he had sort of crouched on the floor, he had his arms around his knees, he had his sort of, chin up. And I didn't understand what that was until I did it, and I could kind of feel the tension and fear that he was feeling. And then I said to him, "Are you feeling scared?" And he
Mm.
said, "Yeah." So it was those sort of exercises that
Oh, that's
we were sort
powerful.
of.
Charlotte, if you find those, put them in the local chat. I was going to ask you, Az, if you have any. This is something. Oh, wait. First of all, Elf is saying here the phrase. I would use a word compassion instead of empathy. What is your take on these words, compassion versus empathy? You're the writer.
Oh,
You're the expert.
great question. Well, empathy is obviously putting yourself in the shoes of others, and compassion is it's feeling sympathy or
I'm
pity.
looking this up exactly, and
Different.
yes, it is
And so
very very
being
different.
empathetic is more important than being compassionate, because you're literally, when you're empathetic, you're putting yourself in that person's shoes. You're trying to see things the way that they see them.
Yeah.
Whereas compassion is something that's more external. You're just doing it from the outside. It's almost like seeing someone who's homeless, giving them a coin. That's an
Yeah.
act of compassion of walking on. Whereas empathy would be really feeling for the
You're
fact that they've
feeling
lost
for
their
that.
home.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and really sort of thinking about how they might be feeling, sitting down, talking to them, trying to figure out how you might be able to sort of be there for them, listening to them. So it goes a bit more deeper, I think.
I think so too. It's really immersing yourself. You're
Immerse, yeah,
embodying this other person, although you're
yeah,
not that person, and you feel the that person's plight viscerally as yourself versus, like you said, compassion is
Hi,
an
I'm
act.
Sarah. I'm on the empty.
oh, sorry, I was trying to get the link for the empathy video. Yeah,
Yeah,
sorry.
and compassion is in fact, I mean, it's not a bad thing, but it's a thing that is more associated with a charitable act, where you then move on. You recognize there is an issue here, and you remedy that because of whatever your moral impetus, but you're not really in there. Um,
Yeah,
Alfonso has a comment here. Alfonso says, I wish we were taught empathy like that when I was a kid. And he says, it's
yeah,
happening to me that I'm not really seeing all the sides to most of situations until now, that I'm a grown adult and I feel ashamed about my past thoughts and behaviors. Thank you for writing a
yeah,
book like this. Alfonso, I would say don't feel ashamed. We're all learning. But,
yeah.
right? Can we still learn, Oz? I mean, should we feel ashamed that we were a bully in seventh
No,
grade, maybe for a couple of months there? I'm speaking for
oh, there's a
friends.
famous saying, you're only as good as your last deed, right?
Hmm.
So it's the last thing that you do that counts the most. We're all here to, I mean, I wasn't great either. um,
Uh-huh.
as a
Listen,
teenager, as Draxter knows about teens so well,
I know
but
all
I was
about him.
pretty.
I live with
Yeah, you
one.
do. You're an expert. I was pretty angry and annoyed as well, and I was very happy to walk away. And as I've grown older, I'm now able to sort of see that walking away isn't always the best option from people and from relationships, and sometimes it's better to figure things out. So I think
Yeah,
we're
things
always
take work.
evolving and learning. Yeah.
Isabel says she can relate. Last questions. We're gonna quit on time today because I say this every week, but I have to sleep because tomorrow is insane. And Oz is we're so grateful for coming here. It is so amazing and so inspiring. Um, I hope you had a good time. I hope that you
I
enjoyed this experience. I hope you want
I
to never
really
go
did,
back to
and
this
you.
weird Zoom stuff. It's so lame.
Yeah, I was really, everyone who's here, I was really resisting Draxter Nose because the tech was like scaring me, but I've so honored. You've gone to so much trouble to make this world, make this platform, my avatar, everything. I'm literally really, really honored by what you've done tonight. I've really enjoyed it. All of my events so far have been with sort of young people or, educators. And I haven't done the book club with all adult, readers, where we could explore politics so openly as
And
well. So
also the
it's been a big.
inclusivity. I mean, it's interesting for me as a reader outside, like now that I'm doing this, I get in contact with a lot of people from the publishing field, and this is not really my field. I say this all the time. That I see a similarity between the music business and people in between, sort of marketing people, and my critique coming in from the outside is that a lot of publishing folks seem to be very narrowly focusing on specific things that they've always done. I mean, those things are not bad. I'm not saying it's bad to pursue like a good review in the Guardian. I mean, if you get one, I mean that's very important for a book, no question about it. And it's also important to get into to the certain bookstores or whatever in academia or stuff like that. But I feel what is often neglected is a very sort of just inclusive gaggle of omnivorous readers. I've been to a bunch of like Zoom launches of books, and I don't know what else these publishers are doing, but some of these Zoom launches are a very sort of like an in crowd. Um, and there's a validity to that, but you see what I'm saying? Like sometimes I feel like the no, quote unquote normal reader is left alone. Especially in the pandemic, that normal reader, is like, okay, this reader just goes to the bookstore anyway and looks around, and if we place that book in the right spot, then that's all we need to do. There's nothing else we need to do for that person. I disagree. I don't have the solution, but one of the things that we're trying to do is to have like an inclusive group of people that come from all walks of life. Yeah.
Yeah, this is what was amazing about like my book. It didn't have the biggest marketing budget, but it was right up there with the biggest publishers with the biggest marketing budgets, and it was simply because of word of mouth. Like it literally reached
Yeah.
so many places, got trade reviews, Guardian, you name it, and it was people that kept picking it up, talking about it, and that's yeah, it's done incredibly well compared to other books that have been released this year that have had like a good, healthy push from big publishers. So the power of just talking about books is
Absolutely.
immense. It's immense,
Absolutely.
yeah.
But that's what I mean. Like when you say push by publishers, and I asked a few of them and say, what do you usually do? And I go like, yeah, we'll do an event. And they all talk about, and America's the same thing. They all rattle off a number of important cities,
Mm,
um, which I,
yeah,
I find problematic to begin with, because then the rest of the
yeah,
country is, what are these people supposed to do? Watch it on YouTube or whatever. Why don't you go to these places? But and then they mention a handful of important publications,
yeah,
and then that's pretty much it. That's what I mean. And also authors told me that they're often left alone, even big name authors
yeah,
left
yeah,
alone
yeah,
to organize their own sort of trips.
yeah,
You're
yeah,
happy to suggest to us like 10 bookstores in the country if you want to go there and sleep in a Motel 6. We encourage you, but you could pay that bill and you could do your own promotion. So.
yeah, exactly. And the amazing thing was like a lot of people were worried about releasing a book in lockdown, but for me it was incredible because I was able to engage and do so many events across the country, across the world, online, which I'd never been able to do because of my children, because of
Hmm.
the restricted school day.
Yeah.
So for me, everyone going online has been really great. I've been
See,
able to
that's
reach so many, yeah, I've been able to speak to so many people that I normally wouldn't have been able to. It's been great.
This is
Yeah.
fascinating. I hope that they learn from your example, because the online world, again, also this is what publishers just tell me, is really, I mean, we're not even talking about virtual worlds right now. We're just talking basic, like video stuff. Is still that seems to be like a whole new world for most of them. And so what you're saying is so important, because whatever it is, full-time mothers or people who are work full-time jobs, they can't jet around the country or the world and do appearances and whatnot. So the
Yeah.
online world is very important.
And
Um,
also for diverse people, people with
yeah,
disabilities, people who aren't secure financially, they can't just become full-time writers. A lot of the people that are successful are usually older white men or older white women with either with no children or where the children have grown up and gone off
behind
because they
every
can.
behind every successful, you know that saying, as behind every, this is the last thing I'm going to say and then we're going to wrap it up, but I got to end with a joke because this is the rule, unwritten rule of the book club. Behind every middle-aged white successful New York Times best-selling author is a woman who cleans and does the dishes.
Yeah, that's me.
but now you're also a successful writer, and that's why women can multitask.
Multitasking, multitasking.
Elf says hereabouts reading a
So,
book.
so lovely to be with you all today, honestly. And I hope that I can join another book club.
Yeah, we'll love to have you. And I say good night to everyone, and thank you, big time Ruby, for those awesome backdrops.
Yeah.
I think Oz didn't see him, but you can see him in the replay on YouTube. Uh, bring up bring up the thing 30 seconds. Bring it up, please, Ruby, the last one that we didn't use, because that's the rubble. Let me see if I can grab it. Oh yeah, I'm gonna grab it here. That's the backdrop. Let's bring it here in the back. Here we go. And please do befriend each other. Be nice to people. Oops. Oh, Ruby's hiding us behind. No, we're behind the rubble. Oz doesn't see it because she sits. I gotta go sleepies, folks. I'm sorry. Good
I've got to
night,
go too. I've got to
Oz.
get the kids in bed. I've had them up way past their bedtime.
Yeah,
So,
you can leave them. Let them out of the locked basement now.
is it okay if I leave now?
Yes, yes, absolutely.
Thank you,
Goodbye.
everybody. Take care. Bye.
Bye. Bye,
Bye.
Oz. And I'm gonna